Whatever, man. Whatever, man. Welcome to the Jet Press Podcast. I'm Mike Luciano. Justin Fried will be here in a little bit. Jets are 0-5. It is bleak. The Saints now won, by the way. So at time of writing, the only other winless team in the NFL is the Tennessee Titans. And on any given week, the Jets may look worse than the Titans. The hacky centerist play both sides argument that or for lack of a better word, trend that a lot of podcasts of bad teams will do is, well, what do we even analyze? Yeah, everything's bad. And I want to avoid that, but I can't. Everything is bad. Some of it Aaron Glenn, some of it not Aaron Glenn, some of it Justin Fields, some of it not Justin Fields, some of it the defense, some of it not the defense. It's getting to the point where it's hard to really divvy up the blame pie. And the blame pie is getting bigger, or rather more divided with each week to the point where it's getting, I don't want to say like depressing and that existential, because it's not that. It's football. Like, who cares about that grand scheme of things? But from putting an appealing product on the field, this is as low as it gets. And I don't want to say to get rid of a bunch of people because they are quote-unquote losers or because they are bad players, because they're not. But this team is constructed just in the foundation of it, of guys that their entire career, all they have done, Gase, Saleh, is lose in situations like this. They've never had a winning record. And because of that, the minute any adversity hits in the game, they just can't get out of their own way, and it snowballs. I would like to think that at some point there's going to be some sort of dam that will break where something will go right, and then they'll just figure it out. Like we make the three-point shooter comparisons a lot. Maybe at some point something good will happen as Justin Fried jumps in with his cat. At some point something good will happen and things will get rolling, but right now the exact opposite has happened. The Jets are a bad team. They are an unlucky team. They are a poorly coached team. They are a team bereft of talent. And most concerningly, they look like a team that was not giving good effort for large portions of the game. Outside of running the ball between the tackles, there's really nothing this team does well. That is the only thing this team can do, is run the ball between the tackles. If they can't do that, they are as unappealing a product to watch as the Tennessee Titans right now.
Vamp for like 30 seconds, and then I'll join.
Sure thing. You know where to find us on Apple, Google, Spotify, Overcast, wherever you get your podcasts at. We are there. We're on YouTube. You could like the stream. That helps. That helps us begrudgingly get through these things because, man, these games are getting rough. You could subscribe. That really does help us make more good content because we're at least worth watching. The Jets are not, but at least we are. And I mentioned it last stream. If you have enough subscribers, I think there's this hype feature you can do where you can give certain points to certain videos and it can shoot it to the top of an algorithm. So if you have the ability to do that, haven't really tested it, but it seems like it should help a channel like ours. So thank you for that. Justin.
Yep.
Outside of Breece Hall, even Breece Hall fumbling, outside of him running the ball between the tackles, there was really no facet of the game of football where this team excels. And I do want to go and lead you in here with a tweet that you made, or at least a message you made to me before or during the game, where you said if you look at all the metrics, they say the Jets are kind of a mediocre, average to bad team, and they'll turn around eventually. And then you'll watch them, and they're just unwatchable.
That's what they are. We have reached the point in the season, and I really didn't think we'd hit this point this early. I really didn't, and I was hoping we'd never hit it at all again, at least in the Aaron Glenn era. But we've reached the point where I'm not even sure how to analyze this team. I'm not sure what to break down because it's the same conversation we're having every single week, and there's no fix. There's no good. Everything sucks. Everything is bad, and I'm not sure how to actually break down what football game we just watched because the issues with the team are the same that they are every single week. Like, we know that, like you said, this is not a very talented team. We knew that going into the season, that the Jets were not going to be a 10-win team because they just don't have the talent on this roster to do it. The hope was that the coaching staff could maximize the talent that they have, and the Jets can overachieve, be a sneaky competitive team, and be in there in most games and fight hard. And that was the hope, right? It was like, maybe we can win 6 games this year and be a competitive football team that can play spoiler maybe late in the season. That was the hope.
Justin's audio is behind, so I don't know. Maybe it's doing this again. Oh boy!
Fucking hell, bro! Everything is bad. That's exactly what we need, dude. I'm gonna back out.
All right. So while Justin gets his audio set back up, we'll start off with some comments right here. We'll get into them a little bit more later in the show. But Brandon R., we had a great week of practice. That was the freaking kiss of death when he said that. We have a great week of practice. Jeff, can you now see a win this year? I mean, no. I mean, laws of probability, they have to get a couple. Every awful team usually gets a couple. But
will they, though?
They were favored in this game.
I know, dude. Literally,
the hell?
The Vegas line moved right before this game for the Jets being favored 1.5. They just, I don't know what, I don't know what that is, man. I don't think
the offensive line, which didn't matter because they didn't.
What it is. Again, it's back to what you said, which was echoing what I had said, is that Jets are hilarious because every single analytic and statistic will point to the fact that this team should be a mediocre football team. Statistically, on paper, this is a relatively, mediocre to below average team. That's what they should be. And then you watch them play and you're like, holy shit, this is the worst football team I've ever seen in my life. Like, that's the story of the New York Jets. And I said this before, like, if you want to actually get a little, like, break it down, right? I think there have been encouraging signs, and I don't want.
But they don't matter,
right? The encouraging signs don't matter, but I think there have been encouraging signs. They can move the ball relatively effectively on offense, especially given the personnel that they're dealing with.
I think Engstrand is a legitimately good hire.
Yeah, I don't think Engstrand has been.
I think his short yardage situation is really bad, but outside of that.
Right, but they have a good offensive line, at least run blocking. The pass protection, I thought, was bad today. They've been put in really bad situations all year because of the quarterback and because teams are just selling out and sending extra rushers every play. But I do think the pass pro was bad independent of that in this game. But they have a really good offensive line. They can run the ball effectively. Garrett Wilson's a phenomenal talent. Mason Taylor is emerging as a very good second option in this passing game. And Breece Hall looks very good. There are encouraging things about the offense. Defense, less encouraging. They have talent there. You'd fool me because you can't really tell, but they have some talent there. It just doesn't matter when you consistently, as Breece Hall says, shoot yourselves in the head every single week. The Jets do not have a
in this case, it was Breece pulling the trigger with that fumble.
Doing it. Breece was the one who did it to himself.
I mean, I don't want to talk too bad about a guy who, I mean, what do you have, 130 yards? I know some of that was stat padding at the end, but he looks great. And
I don't know the exact numbers, but for most of that game, Breece Hall averaged over 8 yards per carry, had over 100 yards, and the Jets lost by 3 scores. Like that doesn't make any sense. There's a few scenarios in NFL history where that's probably ever happened. And I'll tell you where there's even fewer scenarios where something has happened. The Jets are the first team in NFL history to start a year 0-5 with 0 takeaways. I don't know what a takeaway looks like, Mike. I forgot.
They're not even in positions to get takeaways. They're not batting down passes. They're not getting to the quarterback for sacks. Nope.
And that's why
it's not like, oh, he dropped that interception. Like, when was the last time that happened? Week 1?
Yeah. And that's why, despite the fact that this Jets defense was somehow miraculously top 7 in defensive success rate going into this week, and the fact that they are top 2 in the NFL in most 3-and-outs forced, this might be the worst defense in football because 2 weeks in a row, the Jets have faced a team who you could also argue had the worst defense in the NFL in the Dolphins and the Cowboys. And what happened in both of those games? Brother, the Jets defense looked so much worse.
Now, to be fair, Dak was in a zone where I don't care how well they played. I don't think they're winning that game because Dak's been in a zone all year.
You never know what happens early on, though. You don't fumble that. Breece doesn't fumble. You score a touchdown on that drive. Maybe they score a touchdown on the opening drive instead of a field goal. Who knows? They just consistently dig themselves into these ridiculous, insurmountable holes that this offense is not built to come out from. And the defense is certainly not built to keep the team in the game when you're putting them in a bad position, when you're turning it over and you're losing the penalty battle. I mean, the Jets had 12, 13 penalties again in this game. They can't win. The margin for error is far too slim with this roster, with the way that they want to run their offense, for them to be losing the turnover battle. I mean, what are they, not -9 or something like that on the year now?
And Fields hasn't even thrown an interception.
They have 1 interception on the entire season. It was a pick 6 for Tyrod Taylor. That's it. It's the only interception they've thrown. It's all fumbles. And this is not meant to be like keep the kitty gloves on because, boy, this coaching staff, something needs to change. Like it needs to be
not firing Glenn. I don't even know about Wilks yet, but like you got to do either Glenn takes over the play calling or you get rid of like a DB coach or something. Like
the product.
You can't roll into week 6 with this alignment.
The product needs to be better. This is not meant to be an excuse for Aaron Glenn, but also Aaron Glenn cannot force his team to not fumble balls. Like it's not his fault.
So he's supposed to tell grown adult men who played football their entire life not to fumble the ball.
That's not his fault. Where I can point the
that's just bad luck. And the fact that there's been 15 chances for the Jets to recover a fumble this year and they haven't gotten one of them.
I'm going to keep tweeting that bit. It might be like maybe it's
astounding
of that tweet. I'm going to keep tweeting that out, and I think every single week I get people replying to me being like, "Is this real? Oh my god, it's an insane stat." I'm like, how people not
the fact people that? It's what you put it so comically, you know.
I know 99. It was like 1,000.
It was like 1,062. It's like, all right, how is that believable?
That's what it started with, Mike. It's like 1,075 now. It started with that weeks ago. But the thing that I will point fingers at Aaron Glenn, and I will point like this, not even just the rest of the coaching staff. This is an Aaron Glenn problem. It does seem like his words and his messaging is falling on deaf ears. I don't know like how to solve that. I don't know how to fix that, but I don't think anything Aaron Glenn is saying is getting through the Jets because we're seeing the same exact mistakes every single week. We're seeing the same lack of effort. And I think there's a few plays on in this game where you can point
the Javonte run.
The Javonte Evans.
They just stopped. Everybody just powered down, and then he ran for 70 yards.
I mean, there's a few plays, like even that Jake Ferguson touchdown, the second one, which by the way, I got Ferguson in fantasy, so good day.
I was playing against him, but I had Javonte, so it evened out.
Also had Rico Dowdle, so shout out Rico Dowdle. But like that Jake Ferguson touchdown, guys are jogging after him. Jamie and Sherwood jogging after him. Tony Adams looked like he was jogging after him. I just. You know, if this was Robert Saleh still as the head coach, if this was Jeff Ulbrich last year, we'd all be pointing to these plays and seeing like, wow, look at this lack of effort by his defense, fired a coaching staff. So I'm going to keep it a buck here. I'm going to say like we need to keep this.
But again, is that Wilks? Is that Glenn? Or
I mean, it's Aaron Glenn. At the end of the day, it's the head coach's job to motivate his players. And if his players are jogging out there, especially if you're a defensive head coach, right, and your defense is getting humiliated every week and you're jogging on the field, that's on the coaching staff. That's on Aaron Glenn. And either you fix it or you get those guys off the field. Like
I mentioned this before he came on too, though. Not that I don't want to call players like losers or imply that they're not good at football, but so many guys in the foundation of this team, the core players, all they've done for their entire career is lose in situations like these because they never had a winning record.
Yeah.
So collectively, like nobody's saying Sauce Gardner is not talented or Breece Hall is not talented or anything like that. I actually thought Sauce had a pretty good game, except the Pickens play I thought was a crazy good play by Pickens.
It was a really good play, but also he can't get his head turned around. And he was having a good game before that.
Yeah, and then I thought that was more of a good play by Pickens. Anyway.
I don't want to be too hard on him. He didn't play bad.
Yeah, so but if you look at this team, like even though they're good players, any adversity, Breece Hall fumbles in a game, like that's adversity, but not that shouldn't be, oh God, here it goes. And every week it's, oh God, here it goes. And look, I know that the players are still, Glenn is still learning. He's 5 weeks in. By the way, I remember seeing a bunch of guys, how many great coaches started 0-5? Obviously, Noel did. Joe Gibbs started out 0-5. Like, he's not going to be that good, but.
No, but it's also the way
you can recover from bad starts like this, and I get that he's still learning, but I think what he's going to learn now is I think what Dan Campbell learned early on was you come in with a plan, and the plan doesn't work, and you have to make some adjustments. Now, the problem is Detroit, when Campbell came in and Glenn was the DC, actually had some leeway to adjust. Like, there's some things about this defense you can't structurally change because they have one NFL defensive end, and it's Will McDonald. There's some things about this offense you can't change because they have one NFL wide receiver, and it's Garrett Wilson. I don't know what you want anybody to do there. And I don't want to say that's Darren Muji's fault because they had to napalm Joe Douglas's roster when they came in. So I get that, but I think that's what's upsetting is the problems that I think are hurting this team, and the penalties are bad too, but the problems structurally, depth chart wise, that are hurting this team, there's not a quick fix. They played 2 terrible offensive lines in a row in 2 weeks and got no sacks.
Yeah.
What do you do?
The fix is you don't continuously trot out the exact same defensive end group every single week. We know Braden McGregor is fucking ass. We know Michael Clemens sucks. We know Tyler Barron sucks. I don't know if Eric Watts sucks. He probably does. He sucked last year. He sucked in the preseason. Let's see him suck in the regular season. Let's bring in Drake Jackson. Let's bring in literally anybody off the street and try something different because I know the guys out there suck. Every single play that their opponent is running like play action bootlegs, I see Michael Clemens running around like he's in a fucking Looney Tune. Like he doesn't know where the hell he is. I mean, it's the same thing every time. The lack of discipline with these defensive ends is embarrassing. And any other NFL roster would not have them on the team. And I understand you don't have exactly, you don't have replacements right now. There's no reason you should continue to trot out the exact same players on the field when you know they suck. That's the solution. I don't know if it gets better, but I can't imagine it being worse than what you have right now.
What do you think about Fields?
Stat padded. I don't think it was. I think this was a
300 total yards, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers. Justin.
Doesn't mean anything. I think this was a perfectly average Justin Fields game. Like he missed the Garrett Wilson long throw before that. I thought he looked fine before that point, but like he wasn't asked to do a ton. Most of the stuff he did was just check downs when the Cowboys defense was playing super soft, which this Cowboys defense thinks these corners suck. The D line, by the way, the Cowboys entered this game with 5 sacks. They had 5 on the season. They had 5 sacks in this game. And some of that was the pass pro. I thought Olufashinu had his ups and downs, and he also left the game.
Cowboys D-line did actually kind of come alive against the good offensive line. But
James Houston had a really good game. There were a couple of guys who I thought were making plays, but also like Fields was holding on to the ball forever. For a few of those sacks, there were a couple, like one of them when Tippmann just got toasted. That's not Fields' fault. But like 3 or 4 of those sacks were a result of Fields holding on to the ball forever. There was one like 3-step drop where he's holding on to the ball, just sitting there in the shallow pocket. Like, brother, what do you expect is going to happen? You're going to get hit.
The messed up part, though, is like we saw all those Zach Wilson years, but that was a good team, and they were just utterly helpless because Zach Wilson just couldn't do anything. If I made a list of the Jets' problems this year, ranking them, like is Fields even in the top 10, or is he like at the bottom end of it?
Yeah, he's in there.
I think he's at the bottom end of the top 10.
Maybe. I mean, I think the quarterback
outside of Buffalo, where nobody did anything right, like. I can't remember too many moments where I'm watching, maybe that and then the first half against Miami, where I'm like, wow, Justin Fields is a huge liability.
I would say as a whole, the quarterback play is one of the biggest things holding the Jets back. Like, and that's just because of the nature of the quarterback position being so important that if you have a bad quarterback, it's going to make everything much more difficult. I don't think Fields has been especially terrible by Justin Fields standards, but the performance of the quarterbacks, both Justin Fields and the one Tyrod Taylor game, I think has been pretty bad. And as a result, the entire offense struggles because teams can just blitz 6 or 7 guys because they have no faith in this passing attack. And that's just not just the quarterbacks. That's also the wide receiver room. But because the Jets have no competent passing attack and Justin Fields refuses
outside of Garrett Wilson and then Mason Taylor checkdowns.
Right. And that's
Taylor looked good, by the way, today. He had a good
Taylor
game.
Looked very good. They have like Mason Taylor, I think, is going to be a very good player in the NFL for a long period of time. Garrett Wilson is a phenomenal football player, and I feel very sorry that he is stuck on this team.
Breece is playing well enough where I think he's a priority to bring back now.
I'm interested to see what that situation is going to be. I'm very
with this offense. If you lose Breece, like what do you?
I would like to.
How do you function?
I'll say this: I'd like to give Isaiah Davis more touches. I think Isaiah Davis is a good running back, and obviously he doesn't bring the same skill set that Braylon Allen does. But I think Isaiah Davis might be a better overall running back than Braylon Allen. I think he's a better pass catcher. He's better.
It's still not good enough to move off of Breece.
No, well, that's why I'd like to see more of him and see, hey, maybe we can give him a bigger workload and maybe we don't, maybe we have some leverage in Breece talks where we're not just going into that negotiation process and we're like, well, we have our only other running back on the roster has like 25 career carries. I mean, obviously Braylon's hurt right now, but Isaiah Davis like 25 career carries. I'd like to see him get a little bit more work moving forward, but yeah, man.
So outside, because all right, is Fields in the top 3 of problems roster wise with the Jets? Because right now I think it's obviously the non-existent. Will McDonald had a good week 1. He's done nothing since then. Non-existent pass rush.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest issue with the defense for sure.
Then I think maybe 1A is no number 2 wide receiver.
Yeah, I would just. I mean, if we're not,
what would 3 be? The safeties?
This is not a good podcast answer, but I would say the biggest issue with the defense is the lack of a pass rusher, or just it's not even just a pass rush. It's the lack of playable defensive ends because they're also terrible in run defense. They're bad in everything. So it's the lack of playable defensive ends. And then the number one issue with the offense is the passing game. So that's,
and then maybe the safeties, because
safeties are bad. Yeah, the safeties
linebackers,
are bad.
But Quincy's hurt, so that changes things.
Sherwood underperforming. I would say underperforming defensive players is another big one. That's a problem. Yeah. I would say
was actually he's actually been good.
And this one is an extension of the passing game, but I think the pass protection has not been good as a result of guys, just sending a bunch of guys after the quarterback every time and Fields holding onto the ball forever. And then also just fumbles and penalties.
And I don't know who you blame for that. What is it, an act of God?
It might be
the amount that they fumble
be.
and how little they recover fumbles. Do you coach that? I don't know. Do you coach that? Like,
it might be an act of God, because I feel like every year we've been doing this podcast. This is our third season that we're doing this podcast now. And I feel like each of the last 2 years.
I actually was Chris Hemsworth. I was Thor in those movies. This is what has happened to me as a result.
I didn't know where you're going with that. I was actually Seth Rogen. I got called Seth Rogen the other day, and I was like, you know what? I don't hate it.
I was going to a job interview once, and there was a homeless guy in the street, and he thought that I was Neil Patrick Harris.
Dude, wait. Actually, hold on. I could see it. I could kind of see it.
Especially because my youthful hair was a little bit litter back then.
I could kind of see
that. It's not jet black like my heart right now, or those Jets uniforms.
I used to get Michael Cera all the time, but that was before I had like a little bit of a beard.
before you manned up over there.
Before I hit puberty at the ripe age of 22. But yeah, no, this Jets team is just bad in every possible way. And again, like I said, it feels like it's the same conversation we've been having for 3 years with this team, where it's like, I'm not sure what you could do. I'm not sure how you can analyze the situation. They're just terrible in every way, and they find new ways to be terrible every week.
The thing that's frustrating too is, and this happened with Joe Douglas too, like Aaron Glenn was like the coaching commodity.
Yep.
0-5.
Yep. Franchise legend coming back to fix the organization, fix the culture that he has seen fixed. He was there under Bill Parcells. He saw
Parcells was 3-12-1 his first year too. So
sure, Dan Campbell won 3 games his first year as well. Yeah. He saw it. So I mean, like if you're
it's not impossible to get up off the mat here.
If you're going to start somehow still try to be optimistic here, which I can't.
Well, that's all we got, isn't it?
I know, but if you're to try to be optimistic, you say that Parcells won 3 games his first year. Glenn saw that. Dan Campbell won three games his first year in Detroit. Glenn saw that as well, and he was part of both organizational culture changes, obviously as a player and then later as a coach. So you could point to that and say, hey, maybe now as a head coach, he's going to win 3 games his first year, which, look, their schedule's bad enough that they could win 3 games, but I'm not sure there are 3 or 4 teams in the NFL that this Jets team is better than right now.
By the way, the Broncos beat the Eagles in Philly this week. They play them next week. So
I think the only team I still feel confident saying is worse than the Jets is the Titans, and I feel less confident after this week.
Maybe the Bengals without Burrow?
Maybe. We'll see in a few weeks.
Yeah, we'll get to prove it. Carolina won today, but they didn't look like
no, but Carolina beat Miami, and the Jets couldn't do that.
Yeah.
So
let's get to some comments here, because this game was just so lacking in substance, in my opinion.
It was over after the second quarter. Like I'm sick of that shit, man. Just be competitive. The bar is in hell, and the bar has been in hell, especially at the.
They've only met the bar twice this year.
What?
Pittsburgh and Tampa.
Oh, yes.
When they met the bar, I guess Miami technically, but nah.
And even Tampa was like almost a technicality, where it was like Todd Bowles took his foot off the gas pedal. The Jets were outplayed and whooped for 3/4 of that game. But the bar is in fucking hell, dude. After the last 2 years that we saw, any semblance of competency, signs of life, signs of competitiveness would have been met with widespread jubilation. Like, fans would have been so excited just to see a competitive football team. And we can't even get that. Like, we're still, this might be worse than 2020. And the Jets won 2 games that year. I think that roster is a good amount worse than this one. And the Jets might be even less competitive than they were in 2020. I know we're 5 weeks into the year. Narratives can change very quickly in the NFL. The Jets could easily rattle off 2 out of 3 wins in a really, against the Bengals and Browns and who are they? Panthers coming up. And they got the Saints later in the year. They play some bad teams. The narrative can change and the Jets could win some of those games. But right now, man, through 5 weeks, this is one of the worst starts to a Jets season I can remember. And that's ridiculous.
The other thing, too, before we get to some comments, that always upsets me, not to be oh, woe is me here, but there's loser franchises in every sport. Jets are, of course, one of them, but no loser franchise is there such a degree of glee when they're bad in the national media. Mm-hmm. The Jets are pathetic, and they haven't been good in forever, and they never challenged to be good ever. If you're the Yankees or the Cowboys, I get when you struggle, everybody comes at you, but all we do is go 5-12 every year and are never competitive and never have quarterbacks, and yet we're the butt of everybody's jokes.
New York, it's the New York market. That's what it is.
I guess, but
it's the New York market, and people love to kick a team when they're down.
Not even, because other teams don't even get this level of.
The Jets they've become ingrained in the national landscape of just being the punching bag. Like they are the team that you can.
But like Buffalo didn't make the playoffs for a longer period than the Jets.
Yeah. Well, I think the Browns are comparative. I think the Browns have had that narrative for a very long time.
Well, Deshaun Watson certainly changed things, but like they had more of a like not lovable loser kind of Cubs vibes to them, but more so than the Jets.
The Lions, I think, took that reign.
Lions, yeah.
They were the lovable losers more so than the Browns.
Before Dan Campbell, did the Lions ever get, they're terrible again, awesome. Like,
look, if the Jets were competitive and won a couple of games this year, I think people would have been like, oh man, look at these. Like, I feel like because
after week 1, they were saying that.
Right.
I saw happy for their fans tweets after they lost.
Aaron Glenn, Justin Fields are very likable people. The Jets have a lot of very likable. Garrett Wilson. How could anybody?
Wilson,
right? They have a lot of very likable guys on this team.
Quinnen.
I think if the Jets were showing any signs of competency, you would have that lovable losers arc right now. But they're so unbelievably incompetent that it's just like same old Jets. That's what it is. And this isn't even same old Jets, Mike. This feels worse. This genuinely feels worse than same old Jets.
I wouldn't go that far, but
they're the first team in NFL history to be 0-5 with 0 takeaways in a game. Aaron Glenn is the first Jets head coach in franchise history to start his Jets career 0-5. It's awful, man. Like they're a terrible, terrible football team right now.
Let's go to some comments. Vinicius Cristello, by the end of the next season, will be asking if Glenn is better than Gase was.
I will say this right now, and I know last week, and I still don't think Aaron Glenn is going one and done, right? I think it would take a complete meltdown for him to go one and done. And be
this every single week for 12
But it is shockingly a conversation after 5 weeks. In a way that I didn't think was possible. Like I'm actually in my mind considering the fact that it is possible Aaron Glenn could be fired after his first season. It'd be one of the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to this franchise, which is saying so much. That is saying so much. But I genuinely think it's possible. Like if they're
higher after that,
if they're putting together performances like this every week or most weeks, I don't know how you justify bringing him back because this was
the most expansive committee-heavy search ever.
As we've said in the past, Mike, the Jets have tried every way to win, and none of them have worked. So what do you do next?
John Perry, how can the defense be this bad? Steve Wilkes.
Bad effort, bad talent. It's everything, man. Like it's everything. They shouldn't be this bad. I don't think they're good. Like going into the year, I thought fans were kind of overrating the defense a bit and expecting them to be top half. And I'm like, I don't think they have the talent for that. But they absolutely should not be as bad as they currently are. Like there's really no excuse for that.
Anthony Montalvo, do you think they're just tanking for Dante Moore or someone? This isn't on purpose, right?
No,
the messed up part is
again,
Fields is not performing great, but this is not 0-5 because Zach Wilson can't play football and they need to get a new quarterback. And this is not that.
No.
So when I'm looking at this draft, I was talking to Justin. I'm like, the entire draft should be, edge rusher, wide receiver.
Yep.
If they need to take 2 receivers and 2 edge rushers in this draft. I don't care where they're picking. It's that bad. But then again, if you're picking 1 or 2 or something like that, you're probably going to take a quarterback.
Interesting response, by the way, about Sauce when he was asked about the touchdown that he gave up.
Yep.
He said it was busted coverage, which once again kind of feels like he's deflecting blame there. That's what that feels. That sounds like he's trying to say there should have been safety help over the top. That's what that tells me. I mean, he was on Pickens. Obviously, he's the one on Pickens. So clearly
I have to look at it again. Maybe
I'm not saying he's wrong. Like I assume if he's saying that, he's not making that up. But also, man, just fucking take accountability. Just
you
say
said that. Glenn said that.
No, Sauce said that.
Oh, Sauce said that?
Yes.
Oh, I thought Glenn said that.
No, if Glenn is saying that, that's one thing. Sauce specifically said that the touchdown he gave up was busted coverage.
Ooh, yeah, I don't like that.
No, I don't like that at all. And
I don't like that at all.
2 weeks in a row where he's doing that shit. And again, I'm going to once again point to the head coach and say, how is your star player doing that now 2 weeks in a row where he messes up and he deflects blame? And you're not getting on him about that? That's a problem.
Brian Delonte, sorry, but we totally beat the Panthers. I don't know.
The Panthers just beat the Dolphins.
They beat the Dolphins.
The Jets had the Jets absolutely did not deserve to beat the Dolphins, nor did they beat the Dolphins.
Javi Vasquez, all you guys do is talk. You guys suck too. You know who else sucks, Javi? You.
What are we supposed to do?
What are we supposed to do?
I'm not a quarterback. I can't play.
Get out of here, you clown.
I don't understand. You're watching a podcast,
ridiculous.
And your response is all you guys do.
Keep watching us then, Nimrod. Bigums P. Powell, which is a great name. I was pleased with Mason Taylor's targets, but they need at least 2 wide receivers. # Smith hashtag
I'd give
Skinner.
those guys looks. What's the harm, man?
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't help, but
Why
you know.
not? Why not give Brandon Smith some looks? Why not give Quentin Skinner some looks? You know, who cares? Josh Reynolds, Alan Lazard, that's what's stopping them. Tyler Johnson.
Mike Zimmelman, the development of Mason Taylor is encouraging too.
Absolutely.
Already 8th in team history for rookie tight end yards and 5 games in with a high ankle sprain.
It's actually really funny. I mean, granted, rookie tight ends don't exactly usually produce super early. And, you know, I imagine the Jets have not drafted a ton of high tight ends. Obviously, they've drafted a few that we could
Dustin Keller and all that.
Kyle Brady.
Brady over Warren Sapp, yep.
Yeah, we can think of a few. But, I think Mason Taylor is going to easily be the second leading receiver on this team, even probably ahead of Brees at this point.
And again, like, we want to be critical of Muji for not filling out this roster, but drafting's a huge part of it. He gets 2 top 50 picks. Boom, boom, starter.
I mean, look, I'll still be critical of him because the day 3 picks suck. Malachi Moore played today, and I thought he was the worst player in the defense.
Yeah. Well, then again, I think he's out of position. I don't think he should have been.
I agree. He also shouldn't have been playing nickel corner. Where the hell was Jarvis Brownlee?
That's why you get him.
Did Jarvis Brownlee play a snap in this game?
I don't think he did.
It would have been special teams. I don't think he was out there in defense.
He doesn't know the playbook. This terrible playbook. Maybe that's good. Maybe the less you know of it, the better.
Right. Just put him out
just read and react.
Literally put him on the field and say, hey, look at that screen pass. Now hit that guy. Like that's what you brought him in for. Malachi Moore. I thought it was.
Did anyone even touch Ferguson on that touchdown?
I don't think so. And that one play, Jamie and Sherwood jogging after him. Tony Adams, I saw jogging after him.
Sherwood is you hate to say guys like this, but like sometimes guys do get paid and then just stop trying.
Yeah, I don't know what
it looks like. It looks like that.
It gets to a point where if you guys are continuously doing that, I'm pointing fingers at the coaching staff and saying either figure it out and get them to stop doing that, or take them off the field. Like that's on the coaching staff.
And then who would even come in? Cam Jones, I guess.
Is Sherwood playing well enough to even be out there? Like, obviously, he's still your best linebacker, but if he's jogging out there and he's continuing...
Imagine you bench him like a month into that contract.
Look, if you're fucking telling the guy saying, hey, look, you better show effort, you better not be jogging, and he's still doing it, what choice do you have as a coaching staff at that
Jeff
point?
Olbrich merchant.
The Vikings just benched Jordan Addison for the first month of quarter of this game. You can discipline guys. Like,
do you remember when it was post Super Bowl Cam Newton, when I think they benched him for the first play of the game because he didn't wear a tie on the team bus, and then Derek Anderson threw a pick. Why run the ball?
That was Derek Anderson. Wasn't it a pick 6 he threw?
No, I think it was just a pick. But then Cam won and got the win later. So, but then it got credited to Derek Anderson.
I absolutely remember
that. Cisco with a 3-parter. We keep beating ourselves. That's true.
They keep shooting themselves in the head, as Brees would say.
I think we should go up-tempo offense. The problem with that is this team is not built for an up-tempo. It is built for methodical, run the ball. True. And then actually they've stopped. I think Javonte had that crazy breakout run, but I thought outside of that they handled the run
moderately well. Moderately well.
They've been better. They've been pretty good at defending the run since the Buffalo game. That's their formula, but that's the only way they can win is if they follow that script perfectly.
Yeah.
And they can't do it. And then again, Glenn is not the problem.
Preliminary PFF grades, by the way, Malachi Moore, by far the worst player, 33.3 PFF grade, including...
Put him at safety where he's used to. Don't put him at nickel corner.
And then Jamie and Sherwood, second lowest graded defender.
Do you have the highest ones?
Highest...
This can't... Who was it? Was it Fields?
Lowest graded player, Malachi Moore. Highest graded player, Tony Adams.
Tony Adams? No!
I did think Tony Adams played well.
Who was second, just for curiosity?
For defense, Juwan Briggs. And overall, Juwan Briggs.
The defensive tackle room is the one that's...
Again, these are early. These are probably going to change. But Fields...
And who was highest on offense?
Mason Taylor. Second was Justin Fields. So Fields actually is a top 4 highest graded player on the team. Again, right now, is probably going to change. These are preliminary grades. But I think,
every stat... Justin Fields is like the... Justin Fields is like the 18th best quarterback in the league. And then you watch him, you're like, he can't operate in offense.
Jarvis Brownlee did play 7 defensive snaps, 4 of which were in the slot. So they did get him out there, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah, Michael Carter's done. Let's see. Let's go with Get Lost.
Sure.
This new gen Jets fans, guy, acting like we're okay, acting like we haven't seen the Jets be terrible.
It has been this way. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Who's arguing that point?
Like, what do you think? We're just like, what do you think? It's popular to be a Jets fan and we're mooching on here?
I still can't get over a guy clicking on a podcast and saying, all you guys do is talk.
Talk about the Jets and how bad they are. Yeah.
All you do is talk on this podcast. Do something else.
Do something. Do tricks. Yeah.
My man, what?
Juggle. Justin, can you ride a unicycle? Let's do that.
I can't.
Feats of strength.
Oh, my God.
Joey Renato. Wilkes got to go. It's getting to that
It's
point.
gonna
You
get
don't
to
have
a
to
point.
fire a defensive coordinator 5 games into the year of a new regime, but
They
like
won't.
they can't do anything right.
It'll get to a point where they strip him of play calling duties before they fire him, but like, or I mean, I don't even know. Maybe they just do it in one fell swoop. Like, it feels like it's coming at some point, though. It might be after the season, but man, if it's this bad, yeah, like they might have to do it before the season ends.
Gianluca Nelson, here's why you fire after 1 year. Do you trust them with the number 1 pick? Are we doing this already? Daramucci had 2 top 50 picks. He had on both of them. What do you trust them? They've had a team for a month and a week.
Once again, there's a lot of football left to be played, so I can't fully.
That statement you say after a GM's been back for 3 years, not 5 weeks.
What I can say is if I feel the same way about the regime as I do right now, I would not be opposed to firing, Glenn. You're not going to fire the GM after year 1 because like what people don't understand too is when you're firing or like when you bring in a new front office, you're bringing them in January, right? So they have a couple of months to get ready for the draft. They do not have the full year for the full scouting cycle. A lot of times they're going off reports that the old scouting department has drawn up. So that first draft is always a little wonky. Really, like this upcoming draft will be Muji's first like draft. That doesn't really apply to free agency as much, but it does apply to the draft. So you're not going to fire Muji after year 1. But like again, if
Raiders did it.
Yeah,
Tom Telesco.
And that was wild. But also, that was Telesco's second opportunity as a GM, and he'd already proven he sucked the first.
And he got Brock Bowers at one of the picks. Yeah,
he did. But like, if I feel the same way I do about the regime as I do right now, which I really hope I won't at the end of the year, but I would not be opposed if they fired Aaron Glenn. Like, if I feel the way I do, because right now, look, what have they done? And if in 5 weeks they fucking stink, dude, they suck. They're terrible. If
they just won that Steelers game, though, I think the conversation would be.
But they didn't.
If Chris Boswell is in a 60-yard field goal, I really think the conversation is a lot different.
They didn't win it. They didn't win the Bucs game. Yep. They got to win, man. They got to start winning. Actually, like it's not even just that too. They just had another game where they got utterly embarrassed at home. How many times we're going to sit through that shit? It can't keep happening. And I don't know if it will. I don't know if in 2 months from now I'll feel differently. But like they got to win some of these games. They have to. If they're 1-15 or 1-16. Yeah, you have to consider firing Aaron Glenn.
Adam Gase was down by halftime by 20 points 5 times in his 32 games with the Jets. That's crazy. I think Glenn was for the first time this game.
Yeah.
And then we'll go to Aaron. There was not enough talent on this team.
I mean, yes, but also they should be better.
And Jeff, the Jets don't even have a young quarterback to throw out there to see if he, quote, has it.
Brady Cook.
Vamp for a bit. I'm going to get a Charger because I'm running low.
Brady Cook season. Yeah. What was the quote? What was the comment right before that I was about to reply to? There's not enough talent on the team. You could say the same. Like, there are a lot of bad teams in the NFL. The Tennessee Titans are a terrible team. The Tennessee Titans are better than the performance they have put on the field through 4 games now going to their 5th game this season. I don't know what they're doing against the Cardinals right now. But the worst of the worst teams aren't always the least.
They're down 14-3 to the Cardinals, by the way.
There you go. Like the worst of the worst teams are always a combination of bad talent and bad coaching and bad just circumstances around them. The Jets are terrible right now. They don't have a lot of talent, but they're better than the performance they have put on the field through 5 weeks now. Just like the Titans are, but their coaching staff is horrific.
Brian Sternbeck, wide receivers outside of Garrett Wilson have yet to combine for 50 yards in a game through 5 weeks.
Yeah, man.
How does that happen?
I don't know. Hey, week 1 was their peak with 49. I don't know when that's changing. Because, I mean, Josh Reynolds existed today, so that was positive, I guess. But, like, Lazard caught 1 pass, and then Arian Smith had a pass.
Arian Smith caught 1, and then he got 1 overturned.
Wasn't that called? I was going to say that was called back, right?
Yeah.
What was the other catch?
I think it was like garbage time, 15 yards, whatever.
I was zoned out at that point.
Yeah. Ryan Flournoy was the Cowboys' leading receiver with 114 yards. Dude, he was waived twice prior to week 1.
He came into this game with 137 career yards. He had 100 and whatever in this game, 114 in this game alone. By the way,
Brian Sternbeck, Glenn says he will not get involved with defensive play calling.
We'll see. We'll see. By the way, Flournoy, 6th round pick last year. So proves you can hit on day 3 wide receivers and they can do something,
Joseph Diaz, Glenn will be gone in his 3rd year. They'll keep him and be tortured for 2.5 years and he'll be fired by week 5 of his 3rd season.
At this rate, I'm not sure we get that far. Like, it has to be changed. Like, things have to be better for us to even get to that point. There has to be improvement. We have to see even signs of a semblance of improvement. We haven't to this point.
Yemi Rotimi, stop blaming Glenn. Can't make players go out there and not be stupid if that's what they know. They literally didn't fumble drills all week, only to come back and lose a fumble in the
I'm
red
not blaming
zone.
Glenn for fumbles. I don't think there's anything you do about that.
Well, yeah, like again, he's right. Yemi has a point there. Like some of this, like again, obviously you don't want to say none of it's on Aaron Glenn and sound like a stand or whatever, but
yeah.
There are many things that are happening in all of these games that a head coach, for as much influence as they have, cannot do it. Isaiah Williams fair catch at the 2-yard line. What's Aaron Glenn supposed to do? The fumbles.
I agree. But then you also have to look at the other side of the coin and say, okay, this is one of the worst defenses, maybe the worst defense in the NFL, and he's supposedly a defensive head coach. I have to look at the effort of players and say these guys clearly are not performing or not playing up to the standard that we've seen them play at the past, and I don't think they're putting in the same effort that they should be playing. And I think there's certain personnel decisions that they continue to make where, you're throwing out the exact same defensive ends every week, and all of them stink. Let's get other guys out there, see what they could do. Like, I think there's a lot more that Glenn can be doing, especially you just can't get blown out every week, man. You can't. The Jets have looked competitive for 5 quarters this year, maybe 6. Out of the entire season, they've looked competitive for like 6 quarters this year. That has to fall on the coaching staff.
Brian Sternbeck, Nate Hackett was fired after a 4-11 record, and it was justified. Different situation, though. Nate Hackett, when he went to Denver, they were expected to be a playoff team with Russell
Wilson. I get
Wilson.
what he's saying, though. Like, I understand. Obviously, they're not. If Aaron Glenn is 4-11 this year, they're not going to fire him. Like,
no.
Unless something horrific happens, right? But like, he needs to be better than this. Just like last week when I was pretty critical of Sauce Gardner, and I was like, he has to be better, and the comments after the game are shitty. Well, he said some other stupid things after the game today.
Yeah, I don't like that. This comment was worse than the other one, I think.
They're both bad. But I'm at a point now where like kitty gloves are off with this coaching staff, dude. Like, the bar is so far down that if you can't clear this, man, I don't know what to say at this point. Like, just be competitive. Don't get blown out at home every time you have a home game. Don't have games be over in the first half. That's the bar. You have to be able to clear that.
Well, I guess the thing though too is most of the first year head coach. I mean, Schottenheimer looks pretty good actually with Dallas. That he wasn't like a candidate for this job. A lot of the first year coaches too, they could have hired outside of Glenn or not. Pete Carroll looks really bad right now.
Only one of them's winning.
Kellen Moore just barely got his first win.
Only one of them. They won by 12. The Saints. They won 12. Only one of those teams is winless, Mike. And it's the Jets.
Well, I guess the point being, like, if you want to be a Glenn supporter, you could say no matter who you hire, I think they were always going to be this bad because the roster's this bad.
Well, I'm not going to look at it retroactively and say, oh, they should have hired Coach X or Coach Y. That's not what I'm doing. Saying
people are doing that though.
They can do that all they want. My analysis is going to be it needs to be better. Like that is all I'm saying is the performance of this football team needs to be better moving forward for anybody to have optimism about this coaching staff. I'm not sure how you can have optimism about this coaching staff outside of maybe Tanner Engstrand after 5 weeks.
And if you fire Glenn, you're going to lose Engstrand too, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm not even looking at it as like a end result or a like they could have done this. I'm just saying the product that we are seeing on the field right now has to be better for me to feel even remotely optimistic about this coaching staff.
David A. Clark, this team is a joke. Fields is a gimmick quarterback. See, that's where we get,
I mean, kind of, he's kind of a joke, and the quarterback isn't good.
In a vacuum, it's not good quarterback play, but I guess it's different from years past where so much of the Jets' success, having it or not, was tied up in the quarterback play.
Well, because in years past, they had a great defense. Now they don't.
Now they wasted it with Zach Wilson, and then now they don't. And
in years past, they could at least point to one side of the ball and say, we are really good at that. They don't have that this year. In fact, they're bad at both. Very bad.
I wonder where all the Saleh haters are at right now. I wonder how loud they are. Like, I mean,
Saleh was a bad head coach too, and he deserved to be fired. Like, it's just all bad. It's all bad. There's not much.
I will say though, I think with every loss, I think it's more likely he gets another job next year though.
Who's
Saleh?
Oh, like wait, every Jets loss.
Every Jets loss, I think it's more likely that because Saleh almost got the Jaguars job
I was gonna say if Liam Cohen doesn't, completely ghost the Bucks, like he gets that head coach job probably. Saleh.
Yeah, so I'm saying I think in this cycle, I think he might be the top candidate or one of the top candidates.
Jesse Minter will probably be the top defensive candidate, but outside of Minter, probably is Saleh. Is like if you're gonna go defensive head coach, like he's probably.
I think it's him. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now he has an excuse. Well, look, this is what I did with the Jets. Look what happened when I left. It got worse.
Yeah.
Jeff, the only reason the Jets were the national game is because they played the Cowboys. Absolutely. This is a Spiro Deeds team if I've ever seen one.
I'm sad that I'm not going to be able to hear any more Greg Olsen games this year because the Jets are definitely not playing. They're not going to get Greg Olsen. They're probably not going to play on Fox much for the rest of the year, but they're definitely not going to get Greg Olsen when they do.
Phil Abongo, I'm scared Sherwood and MC2 are Sala and Oberg merchants. I think it's confirmed they are. Well, Carter, I think it's confirmed. Sherwood,
Carter is just whatever
the worst month of his career.
Carter can't play in the scheme because he's not physical enough. He's just getting abused when he's out there, and his body is failing him. He's dealt with injuries the last 2 years. Unfortunately, writing's on the wall. He's gone after the year. Sherwood is a much bigger red flag and issue because
especially if you get rid of Quincy.
You just paid Sherwood top 5 linebacker money. You have your best linebacker who is now hurt, but whenever hopefully he comes back, is playing in a contract year and is likely going to want a big extension and can also point to the fact that, hey, look, my teammate who's playing like ass got $15 million a year. I deserve at least that. And I'm not sure the Jets can afford
Malago, I didn't think was very good either, but
no, I agree. But
fifth round rookie, what do you expect?
He's a 5th round rookie that a lot of people thought would be undrafted. It's like, what do you expect from the guy?
He shouldn't have been in that position.
Right.
Anthony Montalvo, at least we had no kick or punt return issues this week.
Avery Williams is so funny because he looks like he's running in quicksand, but he's safe. Like
I'll take that over fumbles.
That was the rep that I saw. I was trying to do some digging and see what Falcons fans were saying of Avery Williams, and everyone I saw was like, "Well, he's not a great returner, but at least he doesn't fumble." And I was like, you know what? Improvement. That's what we need. That's all we need.
Vinicius, this core is rotten. Should have traded a few guys to load up on draft picks. Like who? And have a worse team? Like who?
I don't think you could have justified trading any of their core players going other than like Brees.
Even then, Brees has been. You could argue their best player this year.
You weren't going to trade Sauce. You weren't going to trade Quinnen. You weren't going to trade Garrett. Like, who were you trading? Like, who? Which of the core players?
Quincy Williams, who's barely played this year anyway.
You could have traded Quincy, but also like,
why would you do that?
Right? Why would you do that? And what were you getting back from it? Also, yeah, why would you like? I don't think that would be a good idea for the defense going into the year to trade Quincy Williams.
Brandon R. Glenn said he wasn't fired when the Lions started slow. He is riding with his guys.
Yeah, he's gonna. What else can he say? I'm not
going to fire everybody and bring in new guys.
I'm not going to really get on Glenn for his post game comments because what's he going to say? Like,
what's he going to say?
People are going to get mad about him saying he has a great week. They have a great week of practice.
If he does a Mike Singletary rant, that'd be used against him too.
I like I've said in the past, I don't really give a shit about post game comments unless they stand out to me as egregiously terrible. Like a couple things I've also said, but like, what is Aaron Glenn going to say? Right. The only thing that matters is the performance on the field, and if Aaron Glenn's words aren't carrying weight in the locker room and it's not carrying over on the like actual game days, like that's what matters. I don't care what he's saying to the media, as long as he's not being an asshole or saying things stupid or not taking accountability, which he is. Because the first thing I believe he said was that this is on him. Like it starts with him. So I'm not sure what else you expect him to say.
Brian Sternbeck, if Brian Callahan gets fired tomorrow, who is the next worst head coach in the NFL? It's not Aaron Glenn. And I don't want to be that definitive.
Man, I mean,
Mike McDaniel.
I think Glenn's in the conversation just based on what we've seen. Like the only reason you wouldn't put him in that conversation is because of the rep he had coming into the Jets. But like what we've seen through 5 weeks, man, like I've seen no reason to be optimistic about him as a head coach.
Let's make a statement. Let's be definitive. Is it Aaron Glenn?
It might be, yeah.
But that's not. No, that's.
I know that's not definitive, but like, yeah, I'd rather have Mike McDaniel. Like, I think Mike McDaniel would do better. Like, I think the Jets, if Mike McDaniel was their head coach right now, would he at least have a win? They would not be 0-5.
Let's go next with Sternbeck again. Glenn won't get fired if he gets to 2 wins. The Bars don't post the worst record in the history of the worst run franchise.
Yes, literally, Brian. Absolutely. Like the bar is so far in hell that if they just show any signs of life, that Glenn should have another year. But that's why I'm saying, like, all I've seen through 5 games, I haven't seen anything that tells me that he should stick around, right? I expect them to win a couple of football games this year. I don't think they're going to go 0-17. I think they win 3, maybe 4 games. But even then, that's worse than I thought they're going to be. I thought they'd be a 5-6 win team.
Brian Sternbeck, Cardinals running backs are Michael Carter and Zonovan Knight. They both have touchdowns against the Titans today. Touchdown.
Dude, my fantasy team's going off. I had Carter on my bench, but shout out them. Shout out anybody who held on to their Michael Carter and Zonovan Knight stock.
Wedge. Chuck Noll 1-13, Jimmy Johnson 1-15, Bill Walsh 2-14. The Jets need to clean house and grow. What point are you making?
Wait, yeah.
Should they clean house or not? You just listed good coaches.
I think he's saying clean house is in the roster.
Probably. I thought he was being sarcastic. Like,
oh, maybe.
Like, they should fire him, and because these other guys, they held on to him and they were good.
I read that as he's saying that Glenn can still be good because these great head coaches also started bad, but
they have a terrible roster.
But they need to clear the roster and start fresh.
That's not an indefensible point. That's the thing with the Glenn. Like, that's not an indefensible point that Aaron Glenn will be a good coach and this roster's terrible. That's not a point where you're like, that there's no validity behind that.
Not necessarily, but also, again, I haven't seen anything to prove that could be the case. Give me 1 week where the Jets look like the better football team and win a game, and I'll change my tune. They haven't done that yet.
This is depressing too, because like I mentioned this before, not to talk about draft stuff after week 5, but like,
no, it's fair, man. Yeah. That's where my mind's at already.
Like, I think this team, like, because there was always a part of me that thought, if Fields plays good enough, maybe they just get Ruben Bain and build around him and stuff like that.
I'm still on the Bain train.
Look, man, if they're picking top 3, I think they're taking a quarterback.
Maybe. It's going to depend on what the class is looking like by then, because there's a lot of football to be played between October.
Dante Moore, he rose very quickly. I don't know.
But we don't even know if he's coming out yet. He's a redshirt sophomore. I think Sellers is absolutely still in the conversation. Nussmeier,
talk about fumbling the bag. Drew Aller would have been a first-round pick if he came out last year.
I know. Now I don't think he goes first round at this point.
I don't think he does either.
Yeah.
I guess it'd be Sellers maybe.
Sellers makes sense. Nussmeier makes sense.
Mendoza
is in that conversation. There's 4 quarterbacks right now that I think are like possible top 10 picks, and it's the 4 we just mentioned: Moore, Mendoza, Sellers, and Nussmeier.
And I don't think maybe Aller, if he figures it out, will get back, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think all 4 of them will end up being in the top 10, but like, I think at least 1 or 2 of those guys are probably going to be the names that you see atop the quarterback draft boards come April. But like, I don't know where they're going to be. I don't know what the consensus is going to be. We don't know where the Jets are going to be picking. We don't know where they're like. If the Jets have the number 1 overall pick, maybe they do go quarterback. But like, if they have like the number 2 pick, and then say Tennessee takes Bain first overall, then yeah, you probably go quarterback. But like,
I think if Tennessee has number 1, they should trade out of it.
Depending on what the quarterback class looks like, yeah, they could.
Wedge again. Each player's has to get sick of losing.
Absolutely.
I'm sure they're sick of losing. They just aren't good enough to fix it.
I didn't read it fully, but I'll read it now.
Nobody likes being 0-5.
There was a comment from John Simpson after the game. He was emotional in the locker room, according to Zach Rosenblatt. He said, let me get the full quote here. He said, "I think the future is bright for this organization. I'm happy to be a part of this organization. I know deep down I get emotional about this shit." And then Rosenblatt wrote fighting tears in parentheses. But I know we're going to turn this shit around. Yeah, man. The losing takes its toll, especially for a guy like John Simpson, who, man, he did a lot of losing with the Raiders.
Came from Baltimore too.
He did a lot of losing with the Raiders, went to the Ravens, won some football, came to the Jets. I think he's playing he is playing the best football of his career over the last 2 years. And
doesn't mean anything.
Doesn't mean anything. Hasn't resulted in anything. And for guys like Quinnen, where this is all they've known.
His whole career, all he's done.
Quinnen Williams came from Alabama. Garrett Wilson came from Ohio State. All they've known in the
Fields
NFL
came from Ohio State.
But he did plenty of losing in Chicago. This isn't as new to him.
Yeah.
But like Garrett and Sauce and Quinnen, like this is all
Brees even.
And Brees. This is all these guys know. Jermaine, Will McDonald. It's all they know.
Which is, again, that's kind of ties back into the earlier point I'm making. Like,
no, that was a valid point for sure.
Yeah, all they've done, and again, not because they are losers or they are weak mentally, but they just have not been shown how to win.
Yeah.
Which is going to be upset. People always wonder, like, why do ex-Jets normally star when they leave the Jets? Because they go to organizations that know how to win. The talent doesn't change.
You have to.
It is used correctly.
You have to learn how to win. It is an underrated skill in the NFL and in sports in general, but I feel like it really.
And it sounds hacky because you can't quantify it, but it's
true.
You're seeing this.
We're both pretty big, like, analytics, statistics people, right? And even we'll be the first ones to say, like, yeah, there's like certain things in football you cannot quantify. One of them is winning football, like learning how to win. This Jets team doesn't know how to do it, and they haven't been able to do it for years. And the hope was that Aaron Glenn coming in with, again, the selling point with Glenn was he saw the turnaround, the organizational turnaround under Bill Parcells with the Jets. He was a part of the organizational turnaround under Dan Campbell in Detroit. The hope was that he can bring that winning identity, that winning DNA to the Jets and turn around this culture of losing and despair and misery. And through 5 games, he hasn't been able to do that. That's not saying he'll never be able to do it, but I see no reason to be optimistic that he can do it, given what we've seen through 5 weeks. That's where I'm at.
Well, again, the counterpoint then is, you're going to hear this sentence a lot, and it's going to make you sick, or variations of it. What?
Florham Park wasn't built in a day.
Well, Rome wasn't built in a day.
Yeah, well, it's also Florham Park's applicable here.
Like that's the count. And again, like that's what's tough this year. Is it what like in past Jets years we've had good guys and bad guys. We had the Zach Wilson truthers that you could very easily and provably go, you're out of your mind. Like you can't really do that with either the Glenn is terrible or Glenn needs more time people because they're both valid. You just
I'm in the camp of
right now. There's nowhere to really direct all this anger. Is the thing.
I'm in the camp.
Everything generally sucks.
Mm-hmm. It does. Everything's bad. Everything sucks. That's the mantra of the New York Jets. I'm in the camp right now of this coaching staff sucks. That's not to say they won't get better, but right now through 5 weeks, if I'm evaluating the performance of Aaron Glenn and this coaching staff, it's a D at best. Like this has been a pessimistic coaching performance from the Jets so far this year. I'm not saying it won't get better. I'm not saying that Aaron Glenn won't be a good head coach in the NFL, but I see no reason to believe that based on what they have put on tape through the first 5 games.
He's going to go be the Ravens DC and crush it again.
You said that in the chat earlier. Yeah, he might. He might. Or he turns.
I mean, look at Saleh. That's exactly what happened with Saleh. He's crushing it.
Or he turns it around in New York. I can't be out on Aaron Glenn after 5 games because, like you said, this roster stinks. Rome wasn't built in a day. I get it, but I'd like to see more signs of optimism. I'd like to see signs of growth. I'd like to see improvement from this team over the remaining 11 games that there are 12 games.
Just an improvement.
Anything, literally anything.
Oh, such halcyon dreams you have.
Improvement
and winning.
Our resident statistician is back with a great trivia question this week, Mike. Are you ready for it?
When does the pain and suffering end? Oh, when does the nightmare end? Okay, there you go.
Brian is asking, when does the nightmare end? That's a tough one. I'm actually stumped on this one. Mike, do you have any answer? Do you know?
I don't know. Probably 1 year after we both die. That'll be when it ends.
That's all. That's the only solution? Mike, I have an idea.
I'm running out of options here, man.
Mike, I have an idea for our next show.
I don't know why we both have to die at the same time in this example, but yeah.
I saw someone being like, and again,
I'm taking you down with me, Justin.
I saw someone saying, and again, best wishes to Mark Sanchez. What a wild situation.
Oh my God, yeah. And then the Jaime Elhai stuff beforehand. I mean, what a 48 hours for the Jets.
Nightmare a few days. But I saw someone saying that maybe that Sanchez situation was that's what they needed to break the Joe Namath curse was Sanchez getting stabbed.
Oh, they just need somebody. He wasn't even good. He's not going to be the sacrificial lamb.
I was going to say the Jets need a sacrificial lamb. Mike, we can volunteer. Maybe it's us. We have to put our heds in a chopping block.
You're getting very Jim Jonesy here, man. I don't know.
We're going to take one for the team, man.
Okay, Mr. Manson. Maybe a dumb question, says Jacob C. Glenn and GM stay at the cost of the OC and the DC. Engstrand's been okay, I think.
Wait, keeping
you fire the staff.
You're not firing Engstrand. You're not firing Engstrand would be crazy.
Wilkes, he could go tomorrow. I don't care.
Yeah,
Engstrand, I want to keep.
Wilkes, I'd be very surprised at this stage if he was the defensive coordinator for the Jets in 2026. I think a lot will have to change with the defense. It's just a matter of will they fire him midseason? I'm not sure. Will they demote him midseason? I don't know. But I feel fairly confident saying that barring a major turnaround, Wilkes will not be the defensive coordinator for the Jets next year. Engstrand shouldn't be going anywhere, though.
Yeah, all right, who's better right now, Engstrand or Mike LaFleur?
Man, they were both pretty handicapped with what they were working with.
It's tough to...
I mean, you could argue Engstrand. I've liked what Engstrand has done. I really think that they have an identity for this offense. They've been able to move the ball relatively consistently.
Then they just fumble at the 10-yard line. It doesn't matter.
I do think Engstrand is a better quarterback, though. Like, Wilson is worse than Fields.
Wilson, you couldn't even operate an offense.
LaFleur was a bit more handicapped than LaFleur. I don't know. Or than Engstrand. I don't know. They're roughly in similar tiers to me, but I've been happy with what we've seen from Engstrand for the most part.
Remember what happened when you fired Mike LaFleur?
Yeah,
all you fire Engstrand people?
I don't think it's been perfect. I haven't seen many people saying fire. I don't think there's a lot of heat on Engstrand. Mostly because I think Glenn...
Well, if you get rid of Glenn, you're getting rid of Engstrand.
I think it's because Engstrand and Glenn are the ones that are getting the heat. Like, they're the lightning rods. Whereas when LaFleur was getting the lightning rod, the defense wasn't the problem. So people were like, well, Saleh's good. Ulbricht's good. The defense isn't an issue. It's the offense. And people weren't willing to say it was Zach Wilson, so they were saying it's Mike LaFleur.
I would have liked to see Fields and Mike LaFleur. That would have been fun.
Fields and Mike LaFleur. Yeah, I guess. I've never really seen him run an offense.
With those defenses, though? That would have been...
It would have been better. It would have been better than what they had. Like, Fields would have...
Maybe they need to get a veteran like Aaron Rodgers.
It's crazy that we're, like, we're yearning for Justin Fields on those teams, though. Because Justin Fields still isn't good. Like, he's not a good quarterback.
But he's conceivably, provably better in every way than Zach Wilson.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah,
which is the sad part.
He is a fringe starting quarterback because of his dynamic upside that he brings you, but the floor of Justin Fields' offense is.
I still think he'll be Week 1, 2026 quarterback.
Yeah, I'd say he's the favorite for sure. I don't know if there's anybody else I'd be able to put ahead of that. Like, I think it's more likely that he is your Week 1, 2026 quarterback than a rookie is, or Tyrod Taylor, or some other.
Brandon R. I don't think he has the processing speed to play quarterback in the NFL. That's always has always been the thing.
And I through 5 weeks, I've seen nothing that tells me that that's not still a thing. You know.
But again, he has these moments where you're like, whoa, that you can't replicate. That
and he always will have those moments. But until if he can ever fix that processing speed and not hold on to the ball for 3.7 seconds per play and just and take some fumble or fumble the ball.
100 passer rating, by the way, this year, Justin. 67% completion.
That's lie. Again, once again,
I will say this. I think he's looked exactly how he looked with the Steelers.
Yeah. He has no interceptions.
With the Steelers, he went 4-2.
Yeah. Steelers were a better team, had a much better defense, and a much better coaching staff.
Give Cook a chance. Oh, come on now. Get out of here.
They're not doing that. I mean,
get out of
hell,
here.
Man, at a certain point, maybe it'll get to that point, but we're not nearly at that point yet. It's not doing that.
That'll be it for this episode of the Jet Press Podcast, Justin. Yeah. What are we going to talk about Wednesday, man?
I don't know, because it's the same thing, dude. We're just going to have the same conversation every single week. Where
the Jets don't have a pass rush. Hey, the Jets don't have any receivers outside of Garrett Wilson. Hey, the Jets are poorly coached on defense. They fumble at inopportune times.
If the Jets had a neutral, like a net negative or a net zero turnover differential this year and were penalized half the times that they've been penalized this year, I think they have 2 wins. Unfortunately, neither of those things are the case. And it doesn't matter how
they can't recover fumbles or not commit penalties.
And it doesn't matter how many qualifiers we add where it's like, well, if this didn't happen, because it's the same thing we were doing last year, Mike. If we were doing the same thing last year, it's like, oh, if Greg Zuerlein doesn't miss that kick against Denver, if this doesn't happen.
That was pretty obvious.
But you have to win games. At a certain point, you just have to win football games. And the
Jets are 28th in scoring defense, says Brian Sternbeck.
They're worse.
First down, 2-yard play. Second down, 3-yard play. Third down, 10 yards.
You would be very hard-pressed to find 2 defenses in the NFL worse than this one. I would challenge anybody to show me
Miami and Dallas.
And I'm not even sure that's true, because guess what? The Jets did fuck all against the Cowboys defense this game. I know they got the garbage time numbers. It's going to look better.
Carolina shut somebody out.
Carolina shut out Atlanta 30-0.
The Bengals. That's the one.
Bengals are pretty bad.
Weirdly,
the Ravens are also in that conversation.
Oh my God. Well, they're just everybody's hurt.
I know, but still, the Jets have injuries too.
But not like that. No, Ravens have 8 Pro Bowlers on.
I know. Some of that's
inactive. So
some of those are offensive guys though, like Lamar, Stanley.
Still, like Hamilton, Roquan, that's your whole. If the Jets were playing with no Quinnen or Sauce, could we even evaluate the defense?
Well, imagine this defense without Quinnen.
Or Sauce.
Weirdly, I think they'd be okay, not okay, but be more survivable. This defensive line without Quinnen Williams would be one of the most godforsaken abominations of a defensive line I've ever seen.
Oh my God. So anyway, before we speak that into existence, Justin Fried, any final thoughts?
The Jets are bad.
Been a wretched stretch.
The Jets are bad. Everything is bad about the Jets. And, at a certain point, I don't know. I don't think we've hit that point yet, but at some point, patience is going to turn into complicity in historical incompetence, is the phrase I was trying to say. I used that in an article, and I thought that was a pretty good line. But at some point, that patience is going to turn into complicity in historical incompetence. I don't know if we're at that point yet, but man, it's bad.
What do you have to lose about Cook? 12 more games. That's what you have to lose.
Yeah, I mean, like we said before, Justin Fields is probably the favorite to be the Week 1 starting quarterback for the Jets next year. So if you bench
imagine Brady Cook running Allen Lazard choice routes, because that's what you'd have.
And with that, thank you all for joining us on the show today. Follow Mike on Twitter @ByMichaelJohn. Follow me on Twitter, Justin T. Fried. Follow Jet Press at the Jet Press. Download the Jet Press podcast wherever you get your podcast. Check us out on YouTube and TikTok. Subscribe, hit the notification bell. You can also become a member today. It is a great way to help support the show. It is 99 cents, and you also get your comments prioritized in chat. We stream live, unfortunately, every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern
Much
time.
to our chagrin at this point.
And even more, unfortunately, live following every single Jets game. Thank you all for listening to Jet Press Podcast. I've been Justin Fried. That is Mike Luciano. See you guys on Wednesday.
You guys may have seen a story that a Panthers podcast quit because the team was so bad.
We're not
we
going
will not
anywhere.
do that.
We're not going anywhere.
We are staying right here. And you can pry the Jets from our cold dead hands, is what we say.